Anyhow, Christmas time.
Yeah, I'm wearing a onesie.
You are wearing a onesie, man.
Yeah.
I can't carry a tune. You're very festive right now with your fucking pink flamingo hat on, though.
It's
I wish
a hat.
we got a
It's a-
Santa hat for you. Damn,
Well, it's a
we fucked up.
Jurkens tradition. It's a little.
Why is that a
pink
Jurkens
hat.
tradition? Tell us. That pink flamingo hat is a Jurkens tradition?
Wearing a hat's my tradition on this
Oh,
podcast.
that's what you meant. I thought
Yeah.
you meant specifically that hat.
No, Kenny. Oh, Jesus Christ, I get that in my head.
We miss him.
No, Joe. You know, when you start losing your hair, you start wearing hats. That's what happens.
You say that, but you perform without a hat most of the time
Sometimes.
on stage, and I don't see any hair loss.
Daddy has his tricks.
Is it just getting a little thinner and you're panicking?
Of course.
You're one of those dudes that's like, oh, fuck, my hairline went back a millimeter.
Yeah.
But
Kill
I
me,
noticed.
Kill me.
And
Kill
so
me.
I'm
Kill
going to
me.
make it
Yeah.
a bigger deal than it is.
Of course, 100%.
When really, you're probably going to.
Do you get like that? Do anything in yourself where you're just like, ooh, 1 inch here, or I got a couple grays here?
The grays aren't bothered. I've got a few grays popping up, but those don't bother me so
You
much.
wear them well.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean that.
As far as aging, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to get out ahead of some things.
This podcast is fucking with
I
my
need a
brain.
better skincare routine. This podcast
Oh,
is.
dude, we can talk about that. Do you want to talk about that?
That's what our Christmas
Let's-
episode is going to be.
Is
You're
it-
giving advice to me and our listeners about a better skincare
Oh,
routine.
dude, Daddy's got that.
No, we wanted to talk about Christmas because it's a wonderful season. I am really a huge Christmas fan. I know we have a lot of friends and probably listeners who are like whatever with Christmas.
Where
And
does
I know
that
it's hard
stem
for
for
some
you?
people.
Where does it come from?
I just it's my family. I feel
Yeah.
like growing up, you know, Christmas Day, Christmas morning was so excited. Oh, Santa came.
Yeah.
You're jacked up, right? And then we would go to my grandmother's house.
Nice.
And
Is your mom's mom or your dad's
my dad's mom.
Okay.
My big family traditions are all from my dad's side.
Gotcha.
Very close with them. They all live in Chicago, so it was, you know, most of them do at least. So we'd go there, and that was always fun. And just, I don't know, I'm just a big fan of Christmas. I like giving people presents. Obviously, I like getting them. Who doesn't like getting them, right?
Of course.
And it's a time of year, you know, growing up in a city like Chicago where it's horrible in the winter.
Yes.
It's so bad, right?
Dude,
But-
today's Chicago, the worst. So
It
cold.
was so windy. It was windy as hell. It was freezing. My
Yeah.
Christmas decorations got blown over actually, because it was a very windy day. And it's, you know, everyone's houses are lit up. Not everyone, but a lot of them. You go down these blocks and you're like, oh man, this block really did it up well.
Yeah.
And it's just a time of year where even though it could be very cold, people are very warm,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Pretty
Yeah.
good. You like that
Yeah,
one?
I like that. Yeah.
You know, it can be cold, but people are warm. And that's why I've always liked it. Like, you know, downtown's lit up. There's more specific Christmas activities.
It's just like a jingle in the air.
Yeah, and you know it's a season where I know some years it's starting too early. I don't like that. Like the day after Halloween,
Hate it.
That part I'm hating.
No.
Because to me, I think Christmas starts the day after Thanksgiving, and maybe you could even say like Thanksgiving's like the opening attraction, and Christmas is the main event.
Yeah.
So I think they link, but I don't like when they're bleeding Halloween into it now, and I don't like that.
I hate that. No. And then I get sad if there's not snow on the ground for Christmas.
It's the one time a year I do want some
I
snow
love
on the
snow.
ground.
Yeah.
And I feel like we haven't had that in a
We
bit,
haven't.
and we're not going to this year.
I know we're not
It's
on
gonna be
track
like
to it.
55 on Christmas. I checked the other day. It's gonna
Really?
be very warm on Christmas
That's
Day.
that makes me sad. That really makes me sad. I just remember. So what was your okay? Hey kiddos, if you're under 14, close your ears. Okay. So when did you find out Santa wasn't real?
Dude, I was one of the last kids.
Really? Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. I think that's why we love Christmas so much, because we had a longer appreciation of like the magic of Christmas.
The magic of Christmas.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, no,
What was your parent? Did they have a trick to keep you involved, or was it just you just like, shut up? He's real.
They didn't, I think my dad and my mom and stepmom, they all three were probably just like, let it keep believing as long as he wants to keep believing. They never eventually pulled me aside.
Do you remember when you found out? Did you accept it, or were you just like, no, God, no? It's like when you find out that you're gonna die.
I was a little pissed, not like angry pissed, but more like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck, man, I really wanted that to be real.
Yeah.
I wanted that to be a thing because I think I knew, like in the back of my head, like the last 2 years, I believed
You kind of knew.
that I kind of was like,
But also, you're
probably-
afraid you're gonna get less presents.
yes.
Yeah, right. So what my mom did, this is how smart she was, is she sent me when I just started kind of like not believing, maybe 3rd grade. Does that seem old? Whatever it was old.
Third grade, you're 9 years old.
That doesn't help me.
You turned 9 during third. Well, the age helps you. Why does
No,
that help
no,
you?
because I remember things.
You're asking if third grade's too old to still believe?
Yeah.
No, I would think
around the time
that's
everyone's
around
kind of getting it.
Yes, that's
So
when
I
people
was
start to flip.
kind of getting it, and then I get postcard in the mail. Never got a postcard before from the North Pole. What? And then I don't remember what she said, but the part I remember is I remember that she misspelled my name. And everybody misspells. My name is Jonah. Most people misspell that name. Last name Jurkens. It is the opposite of how you think you spell it, right? And she misspelled it both in the way. And I was like, this is from Santa. Everybody gets my name wrong. And I brought it to school to prove to people that Santa was still alive. Just because my mom had. Huh?
He was still alive.
I said alive. Sorry.
Yeah. like
He's
he would pass away.
Santa's still alive.
That's Santa's
kicking.
real. He's living. He's got a heartbeat.
Yeah. You think he's on fucking his death's door? No, brother.
By the way, shout out to producer Austin. He'll be chiming in with some stuff because I know
thank you for calling
he
me.
wants to get into the debate.
Is that why you left?
Why? I laughed because I pictured you as a little third grader being like,
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
see, I
Yeah.
told you, see. And you often, and also the listeners might not know this. You talk about it on stage though. You were a heavy kid.
This is before I was fat.
Oh, okay.
So I was
All
still
right.
a little, I was on my way to being fat. So I was like, it is funnier if it's a jolly fat kid.
It's
You're
a
right.
pudgy
There's
Jonah.
a correlation.
Can we recut that? Can we recut that? Okay. Ask me it again. Ask me again. It is funnier if I say yes, I was fat.
Yeah.
Go.
All right. No, I was gonna say I just pictured little pudgy Jonah.
I was a fat kid back
waddling
then,
in,
yeah.
being like, see, guys, look,
With a candy cane in my
this
one
came
hand.
from the North Pole.
and chocolate over
Told
this face.
you.
Yeah.
That's why, and that's the thing too. It's one of those things where, kind of like religion in a lot of ways, you want to just say, I don't care what evidence people show me one
Yeah.
way or another. I want to believe as long as I
Yeah.
can believe, because there's no. I feel like it's like in my head. I remember being a little kid thinking like, well, I believe. There's no like negative to believing too long.
No.
But in my brain, if I say, yeah, there is no Santa, and then I find out, oh no, there is, and I
Yeah.
had a shitty Christmas because I believed in these dickheads in my fucking third grade class. You know what I mean?
Did you ever get mad at your parents for lying to you?
Like I was saying, like when I found out, I think I was annoyed for like a second or two, but then I just kind of understood that like this is still great and it's
Yeah.
part of a tradition, and you want. And yeah, I think because I was so one of the last kids, like, dude, I think I was like 11.
Oh yeah, you're young.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I was-
Oh, that's
I-
what you mean. Yeah.
Dude, and you know how one of the ways I found out for sure, I had an idea, I think when I was like 8 or 9.
So you're
Wow.
so 11. That's like what, 9th grade?
Yeah, 9th grade. I had this idea that I think I got from some like Christmas special or something, where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give someone in the show, whatever show I watched, they said people always give him cookies and milk. I'm going to give him something different.
Yeah.
So then I had an idea where I'm like, you know what? Maybe Santa needs a new hat.
Oh, nice.
So
I
we
thought
were
you'd be
at like a
pot roast.
store, and we bought. I specifically said to my dad, I'm like, I want to buy Santa a new hat. So we bought a Santa hat, and
And your
left
dad
it
tried
out.
every hat out before just because he knew he'd end up with it.
I didn't see that part of it,
Yeah.
but we put the Santa hat out next to the milk and cookies. And in the morning when I woke up, the Santa hat was gone.
Nice.
I'm like, nice. But then a couple years later, I found that hat,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
remember just being like, fuck.
I kind of
You
I
know
got
what I mean?
I got a bike from Santa, and I was kind of like skeptic. And then I went to my grandma, Betty. Shout out to Betty. She's a big listener. I don't know. And I go, hey, where'd you get the bike? And she goes, Toys R Us. And I go, I thought Santa got it for me. And she goes, oh,
Yeah.
And I was like, there it is. Figured it out. And I was never mad. But I found out later, one of the reasons why they try to push this along for me is that as to keep me in lock, my grandma would pretend to call Santa Claus and tell him that, because she had a direct line, because grandmas do. Grandmas had direct lines. And she would be like, you're not
Being
like,
good enough.
you're not being good enough to get the gifts, because I always wanted the gifts. And this is, and then, so once that like the facade happens, right? Whatever opens up. I'm very dumb right now. But like, once you kind of figure out, then you can kind of see like how the sausage is made. So like we would always, every year, we always meet at Christmas Eve, and we would like go look at the lights, right? All the lights. We could try to find Santa, and we come back. Oh my God, Santa came while we're gone, right? Because that's the thing is, and I never ever once put together that my grandmother and my mom would never be in the same car with us. So I have 2 younger cousins that are like 10 years younger than me. So then I got to see that when they were still believing in Santa Claus, when I didn't. So basically, like, we would go try to leave, and then my mom and my grandmother would stay back, and they would like, my grandmother would put like mud on boots and like put prints on her carpet and like eat a little of the cookies and kind of sprinkle them apart and put all the presents out. So you see like how it all. And then they wait outside until the car came. And then they're like, we just got back. Oh my God, Santa was here. And the kids were like, oh, Santa. Like, it was just insane. The things our parents do to keep up with a lie is insane.
You know, and I remember when I was like in my mid to late 20s, I was joking around mainly, but maybe it was partly serious. I was like, you know what? When I have kids one day, I'm not going to tell them right away. I'm like, there's no Santa. It's me. And I was joking, like, I don't want some mythical fucking bastard taking credit for my awesome shopping.
You doing that? Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as you have kids, you're like, I'm not going to deny them that because it's great.
Yeah.
It is great. You should see them running down the stairs Christmas morning, you know, and I've got 2 sons and they get along great. You know, they're brothers and they're 2 years apart in age. And to see the older one look to the younger one, like last year when they're 6 and 4, now they're 5 and 3, being like, you know, my one son Matthew says to Dylan, Santa came, and they're just coming down the stairs so fast, so excited, just seeing all the presents under the tree and all that, just being like so pumped up. Be like, this is it's such a like. There's so much shit in the world. Obviously, we talked about it briefly in the beginning of the podcast. Like, you know what I mean? There's horrible atrocities. I don't want to go back to that. Please, never, ever again, ever. There is just, why deny that? And that's why I do love the season. Because again, like, it's December, it's a cold month otherwise. Yeah. And dude, tell me this. You're wearing this awesome Christmas onesie. I am rocking a Butch McGuire's shirt.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Chicago listeners will know, Butch McGuire's is the premier Christmas bar, Christmas pub.
Did we go there for St. Patrick's too, you and I?
We didn't go there. We wanted to, though. We went to Galway Bay Pub. We went to Chief O'Neill's.
Chief O'Neill's
That's
what
we think of. But you go in there and they have it fucking decked out. And they've been famous for this. They have this shot that kind of tastes like Frango mince. Is that a thing? They call it Christmas in your mouth. So I'm wearing like a Butch McGuire's Christmas sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And I went there on this past Sunday, yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was yesterday. I'm talking about. It felt like a week ago because it was such a long day. So I went there yesterday and it was like a 2.5-hour wait for people to get in.
Really?
Yes. And we got there at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Open. Like it's just, they got these trains on the top.
Yeah.
Like that go along the bar, like along the ceiling of the bar. And it's just, everything's decked out on Christmas. They have a Grinch hanging out of like a thing, like he's sneaking in.
Good Christmas bar.
And,
the best.
It's dude,
there's a
bars
bar
in general. That's what I was going to say real quick. Bars, pubs in general, this time of year, there is to me nothing better than, look, I love summer in Chicago. That's still the best. But if there's a close, like this is 1A. Being in a fucking bar that's decked out for Christmas, drinking, for me, a pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
You know, you got that shot of whiskey waiting for you too, right there.
Yeah.
And just being
hot
around,
toddy.
Dude, the lights and the festive, it's just so great. And you know what I mean? Everyone's all dressed up and they're wearing like fun Christmas outfits.
It's the best. Like, if you don't like Christmas, I don't like you, brother.
It's honestly one of those things where it's right up there with me, where I kind of, unless
do you
there's
like a
good reason.
Do you like a 365, 24/7 Christmas bar? There's a bar like that at in Wisconsin. I'm forgetting where. There's a comedy club that you and I have done up there, but they have
Skyline
in
Appleton.
So there's a bar in Appleton that does it's a Christmas bar, like 365.
Does it do well all year round, or is it kind of slow in the summer?
I mean, obviously I think it's slower in the summer, but like it still like does well. But every time I've gone there, like during like off season, it's always like, oh, this is fun. Like there's an excitement, and that's the thing is like what you were talking about before. You know, with your kids, that's the only time I've ever wanted to be like a dad, where it's just like I just can't wait to like if I could do that with like my 2 kids. Like, can I borrow your kids and just do that? Because I think if I got that, I'd be like, all right, man, I've been a dad. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
If you could buy a couple of things that I don't want to buy, then go for it. You can borrow them for that if you want to. Like,
what's okay as a father? What's the one present that your kids want where you're like, are you fucking serious?
Well, they're so young.
Like Legos are insanely expensive.
Yeah, but they're young to the point where they don't want like, dude, Lego sets are a little crazy. Every now and then I'll be strolling through like a Target and I'll be looking at Lego sets and I'll be like, oh, they got like the fucking Seinfeld apartment Lego set. That's cool. And I'm like, $89. What the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? They're not into Legos like that. I've gotten them a few Lego sets, like Avengers type stuff. And one was a cool Minions thing, but those weren't too crazy in price. They like Legos where it's like, just give me a big box of all the different, and I'll make my own shit.
That's fine. That was me too.
Yeah, it's a little more creative. It's
more fun.
I agree. Way more fun. But
they're like, my dad's an artist. So,
oh yeah, I mean,
we do that.
I am. I guess.
I mean, it's just, okay.
I still don't consider whatever.
I hate that. No, I hate
as a
when people are
comedian,
like comedy's art. It's like, I'm a degenerate.
I feel the same way as I know stand-up comedy is 100% an art form. I know that.
Of course it is.
But when I hear comedians,
But you and I don't do it in a skillful way. So like, we're not artists.
well, I mean, there's a skill to it. You're a big storyteller, and there's definitely a massive skill to storytelling. I weave stories in with a lot of observational shit. So I think the reason we kind of don't feel like it is because we curse a lot, and we kind
No,
of
the fuck I don't.
we're conversation. There you go. You did it again. We're conversationalists on stage. Like I'll give a quick aside for the away from Christmas real quick. The guy who directed my last special, which my special is available on punchup.live. Actually, if you just go to joekilgallon.com, it takes you right there. So check it out, everybody.
It's very good.
It's free on there to watch.
God, that crowd seems so
Very
warmed
good.
up.
It's great.
So warmed
Jonah
up.
Jurkens, Mike Leibovitz, and Lisa Traeger all open for me and were phenomenal. So the director of that, who I could just name because you could look it up anyway, James Webb, when he was doing the editing process, he said to me, he goes, God, you're so fucking easy to edit for, because I work with some people who are like, get rid of that pause, get rid of that, get rid of that.
Right.
And I told him, I go, well, because it's different styles of stand-up. If you're the style of stand-up where you're like set up punch tag, set
Every
up punch
word
tag,
made, yeah.
every word does matter for you, right? You need every word to fall into the next word. And I get that. But what makes a lot of my material funny is I come from the point of view of an emotion. So like at one point he's like, oh, you make some notes and then I'll make some notes and we'll compare. Cause we couldn't get together right away. And he was like, oh, I would have thought maybe you wanted this because you kind of stuttered during this part. And I'm like, no, dude, I stutter because I'm frustrated.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's, I'm trying to get people who are watching and in the crowd
you're building
to
tension.
feel what I feel.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want the audience to feel what I feel. So if I'm doing a joke about being pissed off, I want them to feel that I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not as polished as some other comedians, which is great. That's what's cool about stand-up comedy is even though it's all under the umbrella of comedy, there's different genres. Like Anthony Jeselnik is a guy who would probably be like, I flubbed that word.
Yeah.
Don't use that take. Use this take where I don't flub that word. But for me, if I flub a word, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because I'm taking you on this emotional ride of me fucking either losing my shit or feeling a certain way about a thing or, being annoyed or,
Well, that's the thing too. Like, when you're doing that type of comedy, it's like you have to remember how you felt, like emotionally, the state that you were in when you wrote that joke.
Yeah.
And the skill that you have is your ability to like bring that emotion back when you say those words. Because if you're not, that's when the joke dies. If you don't, so you have to get in that emotion, stay in that emotion to keep that. To sell it. I mean, not to use an industry term. I don't know if it's industry,
absolutely.
But like, to sell your joke, like you just have to like get yourself into that. You know what I mean? Like if
guys
I
like
want to feel
us-
cheated, I think about when my family lied to me about Santa Claus for such a long time.
Way to bring it all back. I love that. But guys like us, we don't, I just don't like, to me, growing up, I always thought an artist was someone like, Van Gogh.
Right.
Someone who was a painter.
I know.
I just don't feel like stand-up comedians were telling fucking jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I equate it to this. I go, John Kruk, who's a baseball player, pretty big in the 90s. He famously said,
Mariners.
No, Phillies. Was he on the Mariners for a second?
Let's fade it up.
Phillies mostly. Phillies mostly. He was on another team or two, but mostly it was a Philly. He said, I'm not an athlete. I'm a baseball player.
Oh yeah.
And I always feel like I'm not an artist. I'm a comedian.
Yeah, I feel the same
You know what I
way.
mean? Like
Yeah,
that's like, is technically stand-up comedy an art? Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah.
100% is an art. But I just don't want to take it that serious. I feel like if I take it that serious, it'll affect the way I view it. And to other comics, if I meet other comics who are like, dude, it's an art form and I take it serious, then good for you.
Yeah.
And I brought up Jeselnik because I'm like, you have someone who's great as him and he's great. And that's a specific style. And then you have someone like Bill Burr, who's equally as great, and it's a completely different style.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a fun art form because, like, we're all doing the same thing, but we're all doing it in different styles.
If every comedian was the same, goddamn, would it be boring?
It'd be so boring. Yeah.
So, with
it's the same thing like in gift giving, like you just like don't know how you want to like how do you do gift giving in Christmas? That was pretty good. That was pretty good the way I did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I was gonna come right back to you because you said with the Legos. My dad's an artist. What I was gonna say, because I thought you were gonna ask about any gifts where you're like, fuck, I don't want to get you that. My sons, thankfully, whatever their big gift is, we've been able to oblige. We've been able to get them their big gift. Hold on, but this year we only found out like a couple days ago. We went to take them to Santa, and they were like, I want to ask Santa for a puppy, and I was like,
Oh no.
We're not getting you a puppy.
Yeah.
We have a dog. I was like, we
Right.
have a puppy. She's 10. She doesn't play with you as much. She's a little older, and it's making
Yeah,
me sad
yeah,
because she's
yeah.
getting a lot of white hairs down in her little beard. But also, I've always wanted to do that though as a parent, be able to be like Christmas morning, they open up a box and a cute little puppy comes out of it.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. But here's the thing though, in Chicago,
You
being
poke holes in that thing too.
well, you set it up where the puppy's only in there.
You
for
know, parents that fucked that one up.
I'm
right?
sure, and the dead puppies in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking dark as fuck, dude. But I'm sure someone's made that
Facts, dude.
mistake.
Facts of life.
Well, you don't just wrap the puppy at fucking 11 p.m. the night before and wake up at 7 a.m. with a puppy in there all night. You know, you kind of sneak it, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's hard to do in Chicago. I did think about it.
Killing
Like,
puppies.
yes, Jonah, killing puppies is hard to do. Maybe let me finish the thought instead of interjecting with your dark shit that makes it where I don't know where to go next with it.
Okay.
Okay.
True.
Cool.
Good point.
Fair point, maybe.
Fair point.
What I was gonna say though is I've wanted to get them a puppy and do that thing where it's like surprise puppy, because that's like an all-time parent move.
Right.
Parents who could pull that off are in parental hall of fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
In Chicago though, this is where I'm getting with it. You have to train the puppy. You don't want anyone who gets a dog wants to do it when the weather's warm.
Right.
Because you got to walk that. Puppies have so much energy. You got to walk that thing like fucking 8 times a day. Because you're training it not to shit in your house.
Your dog now, did you get it as a puppy?
Yes.
Okay.
In Los Angeles,
So
California.
you've been through this.
So I've been through it, and it's
Yeah.
so fucking hard. Dude, I didn't grow up with a dog. My wife did. So when we got our dog, I was like, this is awesome. I've always wanted a dog. She was a 3.5-year-old pup. She was a rescue. We got her from a rescue place.
Sweet.
And the training though, having her pissing and shitting all over the fucking apartment was rough. It was
bet.
fucking hard.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that in a season like December in the Midwest of the United States of America, where the weather's horrible. You want to do that where it's like, all right, cool, it's June and we could just hang out in the backyard all day. So this dog shits and pisses there, and then you get it through the dog's head. This is where you shit and piss.
Right.
You don't shit and piss in the house. But when it's, what if it snows up? What if on December 26th a foot of snow drops? How am I going to train a dog when there's a
Right.
foot of snow on the fucking ground?
Right.
That's where I was trying to get to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I love you though, because you always try to go for the joke when sometimes it's like, let's just get the funny thought out.
So you're telling me that you thought that was a funny thought?
I didn't think it was a funny thought. I thought it was just a good point.
You said the point, and then I was like, I have nothing.
Did you
to
think it was?
contribute
Did you
to
think
that.
it was? Then we talk about the next thing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm
giving you shit.
I'm giving you shit too, because whatever.
What? No, say what you want to say.
I feel like while I talk, instead of listening to me, you're thinking, how can I make this funny? How can I
No,
make
I
this
am
funny? How
listening
can
to
I
you
make this
100%.
funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
But you're also thinking, how can I make this funny? How can I make this funny?
Well, no, I'm trying to
It's
think
you
like,
don't
okay,
need to make
okay.
it funny. Just have a conversation like a normal person.
I am having a conversation with you. That's
But
why
I think the point of a podcast where two people is that, as the audience grows, the people like us and they want to hear our thoughts.
How many times have I asked
without
you a
us-
question and then you've answered that and then rebutted with a question about what I think about things?
I mean, you have to
Not
give
often.
specific examples.
Right, because you don't do that. Because you don't.
It depends what your question is, though. If
Yeah,
your
but
question
like
is-
I'm
if your
asking you a question about how you feel
your
as a
question's-
person, and then
well,
you don't.
What was the question?
reciprocate.
What was the question about how I feel as a person? What was it? Say it again.
I asked you about Christmas and everything. You haven't asked me about Christmas yet. Do you understand? You haven't asked me about any personal.
No, I did. I asked you when you fucking knew about Santa, and then you talked about it. And it was great.
Is that?
It
or
was.
did I
Was
ask
it
you
not
first?
great, Austin? You asked me first because I intro the podcast. I do the welcome to the goddamn
do, of course,
podcast.
of course.
So then you get
you
the
crush
first
it.
question, and it was when did you know about Santa? And I go,
Right.
I was one of the last kids.
Yeah.
You said I was one of the last kids too, and
Yeah.
then you told a great story about how fucking late you were.
Thank you.
I then showed my great story
Yes.
about how late it was,
You did.
and then we're going back and forth. The only reason I'm giving you shit is because I'm trying to explain the puppy thing, and you keep interjecting, and it's like if you just don't interject, I'll wrap this up, and then we could go back to the fun shit.
I hear you.
You can't ask, like you asked me, what's
Joe.
a gift that you did ask me, what's a gift that your kids asked for and you're like, fuck, I don't want to get that. And before I could get to it, you said, was it Legos? You didn't even let me answer. You assumed Legos. You did.
Okay.
And then that's why we're going through this
Sure,
shit.
but I'm like, oh, was it Lego? I was like, what was it? Like, what's the thing? Because your
no, I'm not. I'm
the thing that you said. Okay, so your conversation, which I understand the
care
puppy
about
thing and
you,
all
and
that.
of course
I
I'm
care
gonna
about you.
follow up, man. I'm gonna
You know we
follow
love
up.
each other.
I'm gonna
Hey,
ask you
hey,
about
hey,
Christmas.
Joe. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, dude. Happy Hanukkah. Kiss your ass, kiss his ass.
Get the fuck out of here. So okay, so you were talking about the puppy thing, right? And what that made me think of is like for you. So it's like, what is because like I think as kids, your kids are asking for a puppy. They don't understand like the responsibility, everything towards that, right? So is there like a gift What's the biggest gift you ever got
Me
that comes to
personally,
mind?
or I got for the kids.
Ooh.
I was just I didn't. I was,
So, how about
I
this?
just want to be
No,
clear.
because let's finish up on the question. The thing you're talking about. What's the in your brain? If you want to answer this, like, what do you think is like the one present you got one of your kids where you're like, I fucking crushed that?
My wife, this was 100% her idea. We got them a bounce house
Oh, nice.
because it was during the pandemic, and it was like there's not a lot of fun going on. So we got them like a really good bounce house that we set up in our basement. That thankfully they were
You
short
can fit a
enough.
bounce house in your basement?
Yeah, they were.
Whoa.
Well, they're short. They're little kids. Me and you would be busting our fucking.
Yeah,
we would have concussions.
Yeah. Well,
But you know, at the time, a 4 and 2-year-old could jump up and down and have the best time.
yeah.
And they did, and it was great. And they played with it a lot for a while. Then it got poked by my dog. She put
Of
her
course.
paw. It
Yeah.
was our fault. We should have been keeping up with her nail trimmings. And so my wife fixed it with a patch. But then at that point, they were starting to move on to like they got into like playing video games a little bit more. You know, you get a little older. But it was that one. I remember just them being floored by that. So that one pops out to the most to me.
Have you ever had a response? So you personally, oh, and how do they freaked out?
Oh, they freaked out. They
Yeah.
really loved it. Yeah.
So you personally like, okay, so you know there's that classic video of the kid that gets like N64 and freaks out, right? Do you have a gift that your parents ever gave you where you were like, you have that?
Off the top of my head, I can't think. Do you have one? Because let's have you answer that, and I can think.
I don't
of mine,
have.
'cause
See,
honestly,
that's things
can't
like I
think of
don't.
anything.
I'm really bad at getting gifts. Like I'm very appreciative and I love gifts and like it means a lot to me. But I'm really bad at like expressing. So I look like I'm mad, and that's my problem.
Really?
Yeah. So when people like give me a gift, I'm just like, you know, if I was like, oh hey, a Rolex, thanks. This is really nice of you. Like it's like I don't have a good enough, and I always feel like bad because people are like, do you not like it? I'm like, no, I love this.
Do you handle compliments well?
Why are you giving me a compliment right now?
I was just asking in general.
That was the joke.
No, I was asking you a question. I complimented you earlier about your onesie, and you were like, "Really?
Yeah, I hate
You
it. Yeah,
doubted
no,
it.
I hate
You didn't
compliments.
believe.
I think
okay.
I think you're hitting on something. Yeah,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm trying
like
to hit on.
compliments, yeah.
Because if you can't handle compliments, a gift, a really great, thoughtful gift, is an expression of love.
Yeah.
And a compliments in a way are an expression
Yeah.
of love. And I think maybe you are like, you just don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know.
Are you good at like? Are you good
I'm
at
not
like,
good. I'm not good at taking compliments, but I do know how to dial it up to
when you get a gift?
yes. Because I think when I was younger, I wasn't good, and then I remember being like, you got to really heighten it a little bit to
Yeah.
make the person feel great.
Is
Because
there
I
a
know
gift that
I'd
comes-
feel bad if someone didn't respond well.
Yeah. Is there a gift that comes to mind? This is getting a little too personal, maybe.
That I've given my wife that she went nuts for.
Oh no.
Well, you said personal, so I thought maybe it was something like that.
I thought like, you know, like a family member gave you where you pretended that you really liked it, but and when you look back at it, you're like, do you even fucking know me? Like I've gotten so many gifts. Okay, so I love my aunt and uncle, but they're so bad at gift giving, and they give me so many shit where I'm just like,
they're gonna hear this.
huh?
They're gonna hear this episode.
I know they probably are. I love you guys.
I send them direct links. They're gonna hear this.
I love you guys.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you know, like it's just like you know, I think I am very in my head about if I'm a good gift giver to my loved one, to you know, girlfriends or loved ones, and I don't know if you like that with your wife, but it's like it's a lot of pressure.
It
Instead of just being like, that's the thing you asked and I gave it.
yeah. It's
My girlfriend's like, hey, I thought of because this, you're kind of like this, so I thought of this whole thing for this, and in my head I'm always like, fuck you for making me feel bad about the thing I got you because you said it and I got it and here it is, you know?
That is weird that anyone would make you feel bad about that, though.
Well, she doesn't. I make myself feel bad.
Oh, okay. It's more of
Yeah,
an internal
yeah.
thing. So, well, I mean, it's tough. There is a lot of pressure to Christmas, which is why I feel like a lot of people might not like it. You know,
Yeah.
I like responding to that bell, being like, "Yeah, I fucking delivered, baby." Hell
Really?
yeah, that's where
Yeah.
I get that. I get the good gifts.
Yeah.
I had a nice streak with. Now that we're married, it's different. And I take this cue from my dad and my stepmom. They did this great thing. They set a great example growing up of how I think married couples should be with Christmas. Because you've been with each other so long, and what do you really need? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's you get older, it's harder to shop for you because you don't need
course.
anything anymore.
Right.
You know, and you don't really have diehard hobbies like you did when you were a kid. There's not like some big fad you're into, where it's like my kids right now. I could get them anything Pokemon, and they're gonna be like, yeah, you know? So
like, what if your wife just gave you a bunch of Pogs? You're like, I don't play Pogs anymore.
That'd be pretty dope, though. If I got them
right?
right now, right? Because that's just the nostalgia would be really happy in
Yeah.
my head. No, but like My dad and stepmom would do a thing where every Christmas they would get themselves like one big thing that would like benefit the house. You know what I mean? Because I
nice,
remember one
yeah.
Christmas after we were done opening gifts, I said to them, I'm like, what'd you guys get each other? And they're like, oh, we're actually getting new furniture. It's gonna be delivered in a couple days. That's
Nice.
like our gift. Like we decided
Yeah.
to do that. Like, so I remember telling my wife, I'm like, that's what we should do every year. Talk about what we like want to like benefit the house or benefit something that's going to make life more functional.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so that's what we, kind of did. We actually just, new, L couch. We got delivered early.
Nice.
So I'm like, we're getting it delivered. So we're going to fucking put the thing in. So we got that. Cause I wanted to be able to be in that on Christmas morning. Right.
Yeah.
Fuck
Of course.
It's great.
That's great.
So yeah, like stuff like that. As far as any gift where I went nuts for as a kid, I remember the gifts I post Santa, because then it's from your parents 100%.
Yeah.
You know what my dad did that was smart? The gifts from Santa, he didn't wrap. And I told my wife
Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, see, I wanted my wife to follow that, but she didn't have that growing up.
Oh, interesting.
Because I remember telling her, I'm like, it saved the wrapping time if we started that. And she just doesn't do it. Because I'm like, it'd be a bunch of less things to wrap. Also, this is a message.
And it feels separate. It feels like
yeah, exactly.
like Santa has the same wrapping as you guys?
And, yeah, so she's good about it. She gets different wrapping paper to make sure they know. But in my head, I'm like, Santa, when I see him in movies, he would take like a doll out of a fucking sack and just put the doll down.
Yeah.
Right. When I'm thinking of all the movies, rarely was he taking wrapped gifts out always.
Right.
Right. I don't know. So, but this is a little message for all the parents out there. I read this like 4 years ago and it really stuck with me. Whatever the big gift is, that's from you. The PS5 is not from Santa.
No,
that is from you.
Right.
You paid $500 fucking dollars for that thing. You deserve the credit. Don't make that a Santa gift. The small gifts should be Santa gifts. And the reason I am emphasizing this is because I read a thing where it's like, think about the kids that, their parents don't have a lot of money and they go to school, after Christmas break is over. It's like, what'd you get? What'd you get? And some kids like, Santa got me a fucking brand new 10-speed mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
What'd Santa get you? And it's like, oh, Santa got me these 2 toys that I've seen at Five Below. You know what I mean? That cost $10 total. I mean, not that kids would name the prices, but they're going to know. It's like, oh, I got this action figure. And you got a fucking PS5 or a big TV or a bike or whatever, whatever the new thing is. Right. Nintendo DS or some shit. Like,
would also be cool. Like if you, how cool would this be if you gave,
I was looking at you. What's the new Nintendo that's big? Nintendo Switch. Thank you. Nintendo Switch is what
that was like 5 years ago, Joe.
Well, they have a new one, the OLED.
Well, yeah, that's
okay.
Like,
Cool.
That's
Shut the
like
fuck up.
that's like 3 years ago.
Shut up.
But
he doesn't. He's bitter because he doesn't play his.
That's true. I don't play mine. I bought a new controller for it today.
Really?
I did.
Good for you.
Thank you. So also I agree with you because, how cool would that be if you got your kids PlayStation 5 and Santa got the extra controller for the PlayStation 5? That means that Santa is talking to you about what he should get them.
I'm like your grandma got that direct line.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool too.
And they're like, dude, Santa, and my dad talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're boys.
How do you know?
They're drinking buddies.
Yeah. How do you know? My mom got me a.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Jonah, what's a gift that you just went nuts for when you were a kid?
Well, I always wanted a Sega CD. That was like my favorite thing, right? Or not my favorite thing, but that's the thing I always wanted. And my mom, one time I was like asking for something and she goes, oh, it's in, and this was like mid-December. And she goes, oh, it's in this room, that drawer. I don't know, batteries or whatever the fuck I was looking for. I don't know. And I go in and I look up and there's like a dish towel. I'm like, what? And I look over, Sega CD, right? So I'm like, that's how I found I got a Sega CD. So I came down and then I go, Mom, can I guess what gifts I got? And she goes, what? And I go, did you give me a Sega CD? And she goes, how the fuck? Like, she's like, how did you? And I go, you told me. And then she's like, do you want to play it? And I was like, yeah. So then we went up and we played it. Like, I got to play it for like weeks on end. And then, but she was like, you can't tell your stepdad, So we had to like do it. Like, so we played it, when he wasn't around and stuff like that. So then when I opened it up in front of everybody, I had to be like,
pretend.
Yeah.
That's why you're so bad at pretending. About
I know,
this.
but like I had that moment where like I looked at my mom and we were kind of like, dink. Like we kind of winked at each other, being like, yeah, you know about this. I know about that. We had our fun time together. Like I was like, that's probably one of my, it's a very fun moment of mine.
No, it's a great mom move on her end too. If I think of great mom moves, I remember I talked about this not that long ago with someone. One of the best Christmases I had as a kid. My mom got hit by a car like a month earlier. It sounds
That
horrible.
was your present?
That was not the present. She had gotten money from that, like a big
shit.
settlement.
Oh wow.
So that year, Ninja
So it
Turtles.
was a bad hit.
Yeah, she was in the hospital for a couple days,
Oh,
but
I'm
she,
so sorry,
she,
yeah.
would be fine. She was fine though, and we knew she'd be fine, so it wasn't too crazy serious. But from that money, she went all out on Christmas that year,
Nice.
and I think it was like the second Christmas after my parents divorced too, so it was probably like a little bit like
Yeah.
I don't know how that works with that, but I'm sure there was part of that. And I remember that year getting Ninja Turtles were wildly popular. The
Mhm.
animated cartoon was out, and the first movie had just came out too, I think. And I got every fucking Ninja Turtle toy. Ones where I didn't even know
Nice.
they made.
Good
I
Donatello?
remember, dude, I got, of course. Oh, I got one of the main four? Yeah,
Yeah.
duh. Dude, I was getting bad guys who were like extras.
You got the
You know
foot?
what I mean?
You got the
Dude,
fucking
I
foot?
got like all the Foot Clan.
What?
I got Shredder's cousin. Like I got fucking characters where I'm like, what? I got the
You got
sewer. I
Ski
had the
Squad?
bus. I had,
You got Ski Squad?
dude, I had April O'Neil in multiple outfits.
You had the yellow outfit?
That's dude.
You gotta do the yellow
That's how I
outfit.
discovered I was straight. April O'Neil
Yeah.
from Ninja Turtles. I was like, I will take that yellow jacket
Yeah,
off for right now.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care if
yeah.
I'm 6. But it was
So when
everything.
people are like, "Hey, you watching that Yellow Jackets?" You're like, "I've been watching that for 20 years, my friend."
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I love April O'Neil. Actually, it was at a Halloween party when I was like 22, 23, and there was a girl dressed as April O'Neil. We got into
Yeah.
a fucking massive argument. She was actually quite rude. Yeah.
What was the argument?
I remember specifically what the argument was about because there was some talking shit about some stuff earlier, and then I was just like, all right, she's a loudmouth, whatever. I thought nothing of it, but where it was a group of people, it was a
I
big,
mean, just like women are.
Jesus, Jonah.
Nice, Jonah.
But yes,
Nice,
but yes.
nice.
No. So
My two straight white male people, producer and they all said nice.
we agreed. No. So she said something like Chicago needs to do better with recycling or whatever. I remember thinking like it's a weird thing to bring up at a fucking
Yeah.
Halloween party when everyone's drunk and wearing costumes. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm sure every city needs to get better, but I know Chicago for a major city actually does better than most.
Right.
She's like, are you out of fucking your mind? Are you out of your fucking mind? Chicago was terrible with recycling, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, well, name a major city that's better. And her response was Davenport, Iowa. And I laughed in her face. I'm like, Davenport, Iowa has as many people. We were in Lakeview, which is a neighborhood that has like 90,000 people.
Right.
I'm like, Davenport, Iowa has like 12,000 people. I don't know the fucking population, but that is not a major, nobody would call that a major city. And I said to her, I'm like, I'm talking about cities with fucking professional sports franchises.
Yeah.
Davenport, Iowa's your response? And I gave her so much shit to the point where she got like, fuck you, and like left. And then people told me like that she was like crying in the next room. I'm like, I didn't, she talked shit about my city, said we can't recycle. And then her response was Davenport. I'm like, I'm not apologizing.
Yeah.
But she was dressed as April O'Neil. I just remember that specifically. Annoyed me. Because I was like, you see no turtles near her.
And you're like
There are
ruining,
no turtles.
You're ruining this is a fetish that I have and you're
Yeah,
ruining
she
it for me.
ruined my fetish. And then I noticed
Damn
later
point.
there were Ninja Turtles dressed at that party,
Uh-huh.
but they were staying far away from her. Because they knew she was like, she's going to break up the group.
Yeah.
This was a toxic April O'Neil.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
Damn
Let's
straight.
get into our movies though, because we all love the Christmas season with Christmas movies. Hey,
Speaking of
dickhead,
Ninja
when you
Turtles-
laugh like that now, you're on mic.
I go over here, dickhead.
There's no way that.
Wait,
there's
before-
no way
wait,
that
wait,
wasn't
wait,
her
wait.
on mic.
Move.
Before
I go
before we
this
go to the
way.
movies. Okay.
All right, fair enough, Austin.
You
Fair
see
enough.
me, Jonah. You see me laugh.
Look,
I
look
always
though.
bury my head.
Producer Austin,
Yeah.
I love your laugh when you're laughing at something genuinely funny, not when you're laughing at me trying to switch subject matter.
It was just
No, that was
it
funny,
just a
though.
funny
It was a funny
transition to-
transition.
Well, because how
Yeah.
long are we going to stay on the April O'Neil topic?
As
I know,
long as
but
you
it-
wanted to be on it.
Okay.
I just thought it was funny that we're going from that and then be like, all right, Christmas movie.
Okay,
It's
before
just-
before
it was
okay,
funny.
before
It was-
movies,
it
I
was
do have an
funny.
important question for you, Joe. Right?
Okay.
As a man that appreciates a good Christmas decoration, you go on color lights, you go on white lights. What are we doing?
I go
And
back
oh, by the
forth,
way,
man.
you're gonna have to distinguish what we're talking about by saying lights. Because if this podcast starts talking, if we were talking about what do we like more, colors or whites, that's not gonna go well.
Fair point.
Yeah.
So
make sure you say lights.
when it comes to lights on the Christmas tree,
Ooh,
white lights.
agreed.
On like the bushes outside the house, colored lights.
You like colored lights.
Yes.
Okay. What about like just blue? Like or are you doing separate colors? Do you like that? Do you like the lights that
Blue.
look like icicles? Like what's classy
those
to
look
you?
good. I've seen people pull that off very
Okay.
well. I've
Austin doesn't
never
like it.
had a house where I had the fake Christmas icicles. No.
Do you do
My kids like the inflatables now. Those are very popular.
That was
we
my
got
question. Okay.
a Baby Yoda with a Santa hat.
Oh,
Baby
nice.
Yoda's very popular in my house. We have Christmas Jack Skellington.
Nice.
He's dressed like Santa's Jack Skellington. That's a big one.
These are all blow
We got
up
the Grinch
things?
and Max. Max is the Grinch's pup.
Okay.
They live in a cave in Whoville way up. I've read the book a million times, so I know all the rhymes.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we've got like Snowman and Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer.
Okay.
Rudolph's not a blow up though. He's like a, I don't know what you call it, but he's
Ceramic?
yeah, I guess. He lights up, but he's not a blow up. The
Yeah.
blow ups. The thing about the blow ups that's the big trend lately in Christmas decorations over the last, because I don't remember blow ups being a thing when we were growing up.
No.
But the thing with the blow ups is that when we have it on a timer, so when they're blown up, they look great. But then when you leave the house in the morning at 9:30 a.m. or whatever, they're
deflated.
flat and inflated, just like
Yeah.
lying there on the ground, lifeless, and it just looks a little like.
So it's
sad.
like you Saturday night, midnight, just being like, just give me 10 more minutes. I'll get up. Don't worry about it.
No, I got a timer, my man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just deflate on their own after. I think it's they inflate at like 4 o'clock and they
I was doing a sex joke.
deflate at 1. Oh,
I'm
so
not proud of
sorry.
it. I'm not proud of it either.
It didn't even register to me.
I know. It
Or
didn't register to
innocent
anybody
Christmas
here.
talk.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas movie, Jonah?
Okay, so I didn't know that we were going to talk about these things. So,
Yeah, okay.
Just Friends is up there. It's one of my favorites with Ryan Reynolds. Great movie. And Amy Smart. And I would also say Die Hard, which we're going to have this discussion later. Yeah. And I would also say Nash Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That I have a top 5. Can I say my top 5?
Of course you can.
All right.
What if I was like,
and
no, this has been the podcast, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
So I thought you knew we were going to do like
I didn't know we
Christmas
knew top
movie
5
list. My bad. So I have my top 5 Christmas movies. Number 1, Christmas Vacation.
Nice.
Fucking love that movie.
So good.
Number 2, Home Alone.
Great. It's up there.
My top 3 could switch around though. Christmas Story, number 3. You don't like Christmas
That's
Story?
a great movie.
I think this movie's boring as shit.
Well, he grew up without love in his home, clearly. Elf is number 4.
Oh, yeah. Elf.
And then
okay.
I like the Charlie Brown Christmas special.
What?
But that's only like 30 minutes long. So I wanted this movie.
that
I like
movie?
the Santa Claus.
Oh yeah.
I like the
All
Santa
of
Claus.
them.
That's a good one.
I saw it in the theater. With Tim Allen?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
saw the third one
Yeah.
opening night. I remember that. I was like 7 or 8. It was a huge day.
With Martin
That's
Short?
great.
Yeah, it was great.
He's Jack Frost. Yeah, my
Yeah,
kids like that
I
one.
love his
Yeah.
outfit. He's great
Home Alone
in that
2 I love too.
Home Alone
See,
2 is great.
I saw Home Alone in the theater when I was, what did that come out, 1990? So I was like 5 years
91, I
old
think.
or
Oh,
something.
Hey, really?
And yeah, but A Christmas Story I love because what makes it a great Christmas movie is
You know
as
something-
you
Sorry.
what makes it a great Christmas movie is as you age, you identify with a different character in the movie as you go along.
Sure.
Like when you're a kid, you're Ralphie, of course. But for me, I identify with the dad so much. And you were talking about like, you know, you don't want kids, but around Christmas time, you'd be like, man, it'd be great to be a dad because
Yeah.
that seems like a fun time of year. The dad in A Christmas Story is kind of a curmudgeon of a character. He's an old school dad. They don't want to upset him at all. He comes home from work angry. You know, he kind of has that vibe to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he delivers at the end. Like the whole time he knew what his
Yeah.
son wanted the most. His son wanted the little Red Ryder BB gun. And at the end, when the kid had opened all his presents, he's sitting next to his dad. He goes, "You have a good Christmas?" He's like, "Yeah, pretty good." You know, he's got his arm around him. He's like, "Oh, pretty good." He's like, "Do you get everything you want?" He's like, "Almost." He's like, "Oh, well, there's always next year." And then his dad goes, "Wait a minute. What's that over there?"
Yeah.
Well, he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Look over there by the desk. There's something over there." And then he goes, "Oh," the kid gets excited. And the mom's like, "What is this?" Like, he didn't even tell the mom he did this. Because the mom was like, "You're going to shoot your eye out." Goes over there and then just stands up watching his kid open up the thing he'd been desperately desiring all Christmas season and just stands there. He's got a cup of coffee in his hand and a big smile on his face, knowing that he delivered for his child.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as a parent, you will do anything for your kid, right?
Right.
So to me, that's why that movie, A Christmas Story, is like special, the way it goes along. And the dad's great in it too. The actor's phenomenal. He was the
great.
dad in Billy Madison. Ever see Billy Madison with Adam Sandler? Of course you have. He's the father in that. He
right.
does facial expressions
Oh,
well.
Billy boy, I hope you find what it is what you're looking for. Here's a nice piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, there's just different things I identify. He beats up the bully, right? There's just the tongue on the pole. I don't know. There's a lot. I'm sorry that you don't like it. That's okay. You don't have to like everything.
What's your favorite like unconventional Christmas movie, like reindeer games?
I've never seen Reindeer Games.
You've never seen reindeer games?
No, and you know what? And to get into this, because you mentioned Die Hard being one of your favorites. To me,
Is Scrooged up there for you?
Scrooge is good. I haven't seen that
That's
one in
one
a
of my
while. And I
favorites.
like Bill Murray. Scrooge is
Yeah.
great. You have to be a horrible Christmas movie for me not to like you. That's how much I love Christmas movies.
So you like Surviving Christmas with Ben Affleck?
I've never seen that one, but I like Christmas with the
It's
Cranks.
pretty good. Oh, you seen Christmas with Cranes?
Yeah.
I've seen
we
it.
love that
It's all right.
movie.
Jingle
Yeah.
All the Way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Jingle
big
All
one.
the Way is a top 5 for me.
Is that top 5 for you? I like
Movie's
that one.
awesome.
White Christmas, which is really old school.
I love that movie too.
It's
I've
a
never seen the
Wonderful
old one.
Life. Believe it or not, I
Never seen it.
Never seen it start to finish.
Me too.
I've seen
Alright.
chunks.
Do you
of
like
it.
Do you like a very Brady Christmas?
I can't remember that.
That's a good one. I feel
Is it a
like
good one?
somebody is caught on or something. I don't know. I watched it as a younger boy, but Surviving Christmas is good. Ben Affleck, Reindeer
All right.
Games.
I
Ben
know
Affleck.
and James Gandolfini's in it, right?
All
right, so I have to check that
You ever
out.
see Just Friends?
Yes, and I like Just Friends, but I forgot it was a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
probably one of my favorites. I watch that every Christmas.
So the fact that I'm not sure if it's a Christmas movie, we need to launch into this. And just to get a heads up from Austin, everybody, how much time do we have? What are we at?
You're at 50. But
50.
it's
All right, cool.
it's
This will be
Christmas.
this will be the good last 10 to 15 minutes of the podcast then here.
Movies.
Now, we're talking Christmas movies. Big debate, and it's been going on for a very long time, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Now, I've heard that the writer has come out saying it is. Bruce Willis said it wasn't, but the writer would know more than
Yeah,
Bruce
but
Willis.
Bruce
I
Willis
suppose.
lost his right now.
Yes, Jonah.
I should be asking him any questions right now.
Yes, Austin.
Yeah.
Our feel good Christmas episode,
love
and you guys
Bruce
go
Willis,
into the darkest, saddest thing that's going on.
It's pretty sad.
It's very sad. Poor Bruce Willis. My thoughts are this when it comes to whether or not it's a Christmas movie. As an action movie, I think Die Hard's one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Correct.
If you're going to say to me, Joe, it's definitely a Christmas movie, and I say, sure, it's not a great Christmas movie. There's no real Christmas message other than like you're saving people, I suppose, and it's his wife that he's having problems with, and there's a little bit of a family element there. But to me, there's no like Santa. There's no children involved. There's like a lot that needs to be like fit in for it to be a Christmas movie.
There's kids involved.
Is there though?
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like as a Christmas movie. Also, let me ask you this. I brought
But
up this
Theo,
point.
it's like Christmas. It's not for miracles.
Do you know when Die Hard came out? And by when, I mean what time of year? What time of year hit
I actually
theaters?
don't. That's a good question. I don't
Came
know.
out in July.
Did it?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Christmas in July.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you're a true Christmas movie, you're going to come out
Agreed.
November, December.
For sure. Yeah.
Right?
You'd be
Like
surprised
Home
how many-
Alone came around on Thanksgiving so it could dominate the month of December
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Christmas movie. That's just my thought about it. Like Home Alone is clearly a Christmas movie. He's all about they're going away for Christmas. He's like,
Right.
why are we going away to Christmas? We should be here for Christmas. It's the whole I want my family for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The houses, there's the burglars are going to these places because they know everyone in that neighborhood's gone for Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas is all over it. He goes to see Santa, right? He's like, I know you're not the real Santa, but you work for Santa.
Yeah. Great line.
There's just that is Christmas themed. Now we talked about Batman Returns before the podcast, and you're like, that's 100% a Christmas
Hell
movie.
yeah.
What's Christmas about it other than that Christmas is in the background? So all it takes is for Christmas to be in the background for it to be a Christmas movie.
Right. So
I don't know
that's
about
kind
that.
of what happens in Just Friends, but Just Friends is like a little like on the line a little bit.
To me, Just Friends was about a guy who became hot, but he was fat and he loved this girl, but she always considered him just a friend, but he always had romantic feelings for her. So now that he's in this great shape, he's going to show up to his old town
Yeah.
and show her, hey, I'm back in my hometown, but I fucking made it. Look at me. I got a six pack. I'm a good looking guy. I make money. You're still here with these losers. Look at me now.
So you did love it.
It's a revenge movie. It's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah. True.
Do they end up together at the end? I can't remember.
Well, he goes to her
My
house.
wife loves that movie.
I love that movie. And he opens the door and he goes, I just want to take you on a date. I want to tell you how beautiful I think you are. I don't care if it's a date. I don't care whatever it is. I want to make this great
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had to prove, like, his whole thing was he was stuck in a friend zone. And
Yeah.
he'd been working the rest of his life since high school to get out of that friend zone.
So
And he even
so,
was like, I'm good at hockey now, but then they give him the
so
wrong
if
states
it's centered
and
around
sucks.
Christmas, so if it's during Christmas, it's not a Christmas movie. That's what you're saying.
No,
So
I mean,
Die Hard,
It could be
Batman
during.
Returns,
It could be during Christmas, but to me,
Reindeer Games.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, people are gonna think, Joe, you're a fucking idiot because if Christmas is a setting, it's a Christmas movie. But I just feel like Die Hard isn't. Christmas isn't the theme of Die Hard.
What's the
That's
most?
why there's a debate.
So what's the most Christmas movie?
A
Scrooge,
Christmas
probably.
story, a Christmas
yeah.
Vacation. Christmas Vacation.
The
So
Santa
here's the thing.
Claus.
I've written a screenplay before. Before I did stand-up, I wanted to be fucking John Hughes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I wanted to write screenplays because when I was growing up, I loved comedy movies, and I'd always be like, "Who wrote this? That's the real fucking funny person,
Right.
not all these people. They're saying someone else's lines." So I was really into this. So I've read a dozen screenplay books on how to write a screenplay in the formula, and most screenplays follow the formula of where right around minute 10, the main character kind of declares what they want. And then by minute 25, that is set into motion. So minute 10 of A Christmas Vacation, he states, I want to have a good, fun, old-fashioned family Christmas.
Yeah.
That's the theme. In Christmas Story, what do you want for Christmas? That's the theme, what he wants for Christmas.
How do you feel about Four Christmases?
Four Christmases is definitely a Christmas
That's my
movie.
favorite.
Because the whole idea behind that was they couldn't stand their families around Christmas.
Right.
So they would avoid them. But then what happens when you're stuck? How do you get back into that life of being around your family for the holidays? And then by the end, they realize, oh, this is actually good to be around our family for the holidays. So yeah, there's something to it. Fred Claus is clearly a Christmas movie.
Fred
It's the
Claus?
brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Fred
I've never
Claus.
seen it.
It came out in 2008 or 9 or something like
Kevin
that. I was like
Spacey,
21,
baby.
22. Is Kevin Spacey in that? He's the
villain.
bad guy. He's the
He's
villain
bad
in that.
guy. He was upset he didn't get a Superman cape, which is funny because that movie came out at the same time as Superman Returns, where he played Lex Luthor.
Oh, that's right. And so with that was a bad Superman movie. Brandon Routh. Ugh. Henry Cavill is the shit as Superman. They fire him. How dumb is DC? Anyway, but back to Fred Claus. That movie could have been delivered a little bit better and executed better. It's okay. But the premise is fantastic for Fred Claus. The idea being like, what would it be like to be Santa Claus's brother and live in that shadow?
He's got family.
Yeah, like we heard about Mrs. Claus. Does he have siblings? And what do the siblings think?
Right.
And that whole, and they have a thing.
Chicago too. He's from
Yeah,
Chicago.
and it's filmed in Chicago. Yeah, because Vince Vaughn's a big Chicago guy. So in one of the opening scenes of Fred Claus is he's talking to all these other famous people's brothers, like Sylvester Stallone's brother. It's like a support
fun.
group. One of the Baldwins.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton's brother. They got Roger Clinton. They legitimately got Bill Clinton's brother to act in a movie.
Oh, wow.
And they're all talking about how hard it is to be a brother of a super famous person. And when it gets to him, he's like, well, my brother's Santa Claus. And they go, you're just here to mock us, you asshole. We legitimately, they think he's just some nutbag. He's like, no, my brother's really Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And all this shit. But like, those movies were written with the intent of, I'm going to make this movie. It's going to come out maybe a month before Christmas or around Christmas. And my hope is that every year people get together and watch this movie.
Yeah.
I think Die Hard was written to be like, this is a fucking badass action movie.
Right.
What is it? You know, what's this guy going to do to take out all of these terrorists who are taking over a building in LA and all this kind of shit? And there's the cop's redemption story, Officer Winslow, Family Matters. Love that guy. And it just so happens they were like, how do we get this couple that's not doing well together? Because they're like going through a divorce kind of, right?
Yeah, they're making it work.
They're trying to make it work. Yeah. But they're struggling as a couple, right?
Well,
It's
Christmas
her-
brings them together, though.
Yes. Because he's a New York cop, though.
New York cop.
But he goes there for her
Fucking
office
LA.
Christmas party in LA. So they
Fucking
got,
California.
yeah. So that's, exactly.
It's weird how this podcast is turning into, if you're going to watch any Christmas movies, you need to watch Fred Claus and Reindeer Games.
Well,
It's kind of like,
well, tell me
what's
about
happening?
Reindeer Games. I just told you about Fred Claus. I'm not even saying you have to watch Fred Claus. But I'm saying that Fred Claus was written in that, and it was Reindeer Games written with the intent of, I hope people gather around the fireplace every year and pop this one in.
I mean, it ends with like 15 Santa Clauses running around.
I've never seen the movie, though.
You never seen Reindeer Games?
No, I told you that like at the beginning.
Joe, you would love it. You
brought
know
up.
why? You get to see Sheriff Theron's butt and boobs.
Charlize Theron's
Charlize Theron's butt and boobs.
God, she's gorgeous.
She's
huh?
gorgeous in that
She's
movie,
so
too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm on board.
And Gary Oldman. Not Gary Oldman. Gary
Gary
Sinise.
Sinise.
Gary Sinise's butt
Yeah.
and boobs,
Chicago's own Gary Sinise.
I like that. He's a good actor.
What's okay? So,
Lieutenant Dan.
so what's the weirdest movie that you have a tradition of watching every holiday season?
I don't have one. I'm pretty.
Is it Fred
I'm,
Claus?
I'm a basic bitch. No, I don't watch Fred Claus.
For me, it's Just Friends. I always watch. I watch Just Friends every year.
No, I honestly, I'm basic as fuck. Fred Claus, I don't watch every year. Fred Claus was just a movie I brought up because we mentioned Four Christmases. That's Vince Vaughn, and Fred
Right.
Claus is Vince Vaughn. No, I watch a lot of the standard ones every year. There's not like one where it's like, why do I watch this one? All
Yeah.
the ones I like I told you, Christmas Vacation. We had a tradition where we watch Christmas Vacation on Christmas Eve.
Oh
you
yeah.
know? So we go to
Yeah.
like 4:30 mass, have a nice Christmas Eve dinner, watch that movie, then go to bed and wake up and open our presents from Santa.
So what's a better Christmas movie, Home Alone or Christmas Vacation?
See, when I was younger, Home Alone, because I saw Home Alone again, like
What's
opening night
funnier?
in the theater. Give me a second here. I
Yeah.
saw Home Alone opening night in the theater when I was like, Macaulay Culkin's like 2 years older than me, I think, or 3 years older than me. But I
Yeah.
was like a little kid, and I'm like, that's awesome. I want to booby trap my house. I want to do that. So Home Alone was the funnier movie to me. I left so hard in the theater when they were falling and painting cans in the head and stepping on a nail. All great, you know?
Yeah.
But now Christmas Vacation is a funnier movie. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
an adult, so I see it
Yeah.
through adult eyes. Home Alone, I still have that deep nostalgia for.
Right.
But Christmas Vacation now to me, because there's the connection with my dad because he loved that movie.
Yeah.
And I've got this great story with my wife. So before we were married, I first had her over. The first time my wife partook. That's not right. Is it partook or partaked?
Partake.
Whatever. The first time she was part of the Christmas Eve watch Christmas Vacation tradition, I think it was the first time she ever saw that movie. And you know the scene where he's up in the attic and he keeps stepping on the wooden platform and hits him in the head?
Yeah.
We had seen the movie. This is like our 17th year of watching this movie on Christmas Eve. So we still enjoy it, but we're not laughing out loud like someone who's never seen the movie was. My wife was laughing so hard, so loud. I still have the memory of my dad just looking over at her being like, man, this is hilarious how much, because he got to enjoy someone watching a movie that they hadn't seen before and seeing them laugh at a scene that they no longer laugh at. Even
Were
though
you
they
like
think
kind of
it's
laugh
funny.
at something? You like see if they're like,
And I remember it to be
attention?
like, oh my God, this really is your first time seeing this movie or whatever, because she was just laughing her ass off. And it made it more fun for everyone else because, again, everyone has a favorite movie they've seen 100 times. That might be their favorite comedy, but you're not going to laugh the same way you did time number one.
Yeah.
Right. So that's Christmas Vacation is my number one. It has more meaning now than Home Alone did, but Home Alone was my number one for a long time, just because of the nostalgia and being a kid and the booby traps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was a long answer, but I feel like I had some details there. So what's your all-time favorite?
Ooh, Christmas Vacation. I watch that all the time. I still laugh just as hard, and I find like the little jokes in there that I miss. It's like probably Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Just Friends.
That's a great trio.
The three, and then Die Hard. Sorry,
No, don't be sorry. Again, like I've told people.
but it's more of a tradition. It's not like this isn't Christmas. I don't watch this because it reminds me of Christmas. It's just like this is what I watch during Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
And that's another example. And again, to the people who love Die Hard, my buddy Steve Byrne, Die Hard's like his favorite Christmas movie. We had a big conversation about this. Great comedian. Everyone check out Steve Byrne. So he, I was saying, I go, look, I love it. And I'm okay with people saying it's a Christmas movie. But to me, I could pop in Die Hard in April, September, any time of year you could pop in Die Hard and it's going to be a great watch. If I pop in Christmas Vacation in March, it's still fine, but it still feels not right.
But you could with Home Alone though. Home Alone, you
I
don't really
guess.
need Christmas to have that story.
I guess you don't, because it's and the other there was a home. No, I think they've all been Christmas themed. Know what I'm talking about? I guess you could leave your kid alone any time of year, but to me, because that's really what it is. You fucked up parents, some bad parents there, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just like
So for you, it's like a wish movie. Like I wish I could just leave my kid alone like that.
no, I'm not as shitty as though. Yeah, I do. I wish I could go to Paris and totally forget about my children. Yes, and Jonah. I'm sorry, buddy. Austin laughed at that. He didn't. So my point is, though, I think a great Christmas movie is a movie you only can watch at Christmas.
Okay.
Die Hard you can watch year round.
True.
Look, I love Die Hard, and I'm not.
Great.
And if Die Hard is your favorite Christmas movie, good on you. I'm not going to try to tell you not to love Die Hard or not to have it be.
Yeah.
I actually get a kick out of the fact that people are being like, "Oh, I watch Die Hard every year at Christmas." Cool, then.
Yeah.
That's great. But I think so many people have made their personality off of pissing people off, trying to say Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. And I agree. Like I think Home Alone you can kind of watch whenever, kind of. Not really. That's like kind of iffy. But you're right. Like Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story. You just can't watch.
Yeah.
And also like a Christmas Vacation cuts to like a countdown to Christmas.
Yeah, they keep
know what
opening
I mean?
the doors on the thing.
Yeah.
And then they get the Christmas shopping scene. And there's just so many fucking parts of that movie where
What's your favorite line in that movie?
Oh, well, we kind of hinted at it earlier when he tells his boss, like, you know, the boss, Brian Doyle Murray's character, says, I need you to write up something for this speech I have to give in layman's term, none of that inside jargon. And then he says, thank you for the Christmas card. And then the guy's like, the corporate card's like, you know, it wasn't personal. And then he's saying to all the people walking out, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, kiss his ass, kiss your ass, Happy Hanukkah. Like just that rhythm is great. And then I think from there it cuts to downtown Chicago. It's, hey, Santa Claus, hey, you know, that song.
Great song.
And then he's in Marshall Fields. And then he's totally like the woman he's talking to is gorgeous. And he's Chevy chasing it up by sweating and saying all the wrong words. And then the scene where she's like, look, you can't even see the line on this. And he's like, can't even see the line, can you, Rusty? He's like, no, you can't. And then he realizes, oh shit, my kid's here, you know. There's
I like when he goes, well, 'tis the season to be merry. And then she goes, oh, that's my name. And he goes, no shit.
Yeah, that line's perfect.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect line. There's so many good ones in that one too. Like when his cousin Eddie comes in and he says, like, you know, I got a whole metal plate in my
this
head
side,
here.
nothing. Yeah. This side, yeah. It's
And
fucking
then-
my part here, you know.
And then Chevy Chase goes, do you think it matters? Like, do you think it really matters at all? Yeah, great scenes. Anyhow, so that's been our Christmas episode.
Mhm.
Any closing thoughts? I'll let you do the Jerry Springer final thoughts. If you any wishes you want to wish our listeners a Merry Christmas, wish the people.
Yeah,
out
I
there?
wish anybody listening a happy holidays and like whatever you celebrate. I hope that you're with your family and you're having a great time. And Joe, I appreciate you and I love you so much. And I'm glad that we've been chugging along. I know it got a little. You okay? You crying?
I'm all right, man.
Yeah, I got a little dicey already. This podcast. That's my
No,
favorite thing.
dude.
I never know. I never know where it's gonna go, and that's my favorite thing. And I want to tell you, I plan on having a present for you. I don't have a fucking present for you, but you are my present, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jonah. I was gonna say a lot of the kind words back to you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to the listeners, whatever you celebrate. Of course, be good to each other, enjoy the season as much as you can. To you, I was gonna say, I love you, man. I really do.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you. I hope you have a great Christmas. You deserve to have a great Christmas. Anytime I give you a little bit of shit, it's because we're family.
Love each other. Yeah.
This is what family does at Christmas.
Yeah.
Family at Christmas sometimes bickers with each other and gets a little arguments.
Love it. Yeah.
That's all part of it. But at the end of the day, we're going to eat ourselves some dessert, right?
Yeah.
We're going to watch the second half of whatever the NBA game is.
Yeah.
And then put on Just Friends.
Oh.
Is that your Christmas night? You watch it or Christmas Eve? Christmas Day?
I would say 2 days before.
All right.
Like leading up.
Last thing, Christmas presents on the morning or Eve?
Eve.
You open Christmas presents on the Eve?
I'm an Eve guy. My family, because that's when we celebrate is Eve.
All right, I'm a Christmas morning guy. And I'm saying if you and Laura, see, growing up, it was like me and Nicole would like, or like,
I think when you have kids, because you like
yes, you have to
wake
the
up
Santa
for
thing.
it. Yeah.
If I understand people exchanging presents with like their cousins and friends on
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, but when it comes to Santa presents, that's Christmas morning.
See, Christmas
Family
morning for me is
presents
like when I
Christmas
play with my
morning.
gifts, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's when I found all my girlfriend's boobs.
Those are your gifts.
Great
That's Bad Santa. You just ended it like Bad Santa, which is another Christmas movie. We didn't mention.
movie. Oh, we didn't talk about that.
That's a fun one. That's probably in my top 10 somewhere.
Yeah, that's up there.
I love it. You know what's cute? Real quick, my wife hates the song Santa Baby because she says it sexualizes Santa.
Santa.
That's another thing. I listen to Christmas music in the car.
I
the whole
love
month.
I love
Yeah.
Christmas music.
I dig it. I'm
Yeah.
into it. Dude, I soak up Christmas as much as I can.
I'm glad
Because
that
I
you
know
do.
when it's over, I go, man, I got to wait 11 more months for
I
that.
know.
That's how I like to soak up summer too. Summer
Yeah.
and Christmas are my 2 seasons.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That has been the podcast. Thank you so much on behalf of Jonah, our producer, Austin. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year as well. And just in case
Yeah.
this might be the last podcast of the year.
Might be.
We're not sure, but then we'll be back to our regular schedule to start the year.
Yeah.
Just in case. I'm putting this as a disclaimer. Watch, we're going to have one come out like 3 days after Christmas. I was a liar. All right. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Cheers.
Thank you.
And to all, a good night.
Oh. Santa baby.